And MetaShare is a proven thing, too, for over 30 years. It's a Christian community of hundreds of thousands of people now. And here's the thing. If you join before December 31st and you mention the promo code SHARE, they'll waive your application fee. So you save even more right off the bat. I'll give you the number here in a second, but just call and you'll get a price within 2 minutes. And again, the deadline is December 31st. So call now and you'll save even more. Here's the number, 844-45-BIBLE. That's 844-45-BIBLE. 844-45-BIBLE.
Your home for Goodland High School athletics, Fort Hays Tech Northwest basketball, the Denver Broncos, and the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer and Max Gershon.
With your updated forecast, I'm staff meteorologist Paul Trombley from the Weatherology Weather Center. Mainly sunny skies today with daytime highs approaching 48. Southwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Mainly clear skies again tonight. Lows dip down to about 30. Daytime highs approaching 55 tomorrow. Mainly sunny skies. Daytime highs approaching 46 Friday under clear skies. 51 Saturday. Looking further out, 52 Sunday, 56 Monday, and 59 on Tuesday. Another look at the short range, high of 48 today. Lows level off around 30 tonight. We should top off around 55 tomorrow. Get up to the minute weather updates from the Weatherology Weather Center. I'm staff meteorologist Paul Trombley on this NWKS radio station. Right now, it's 16 degrees.
2 hours ago, Kyle arrived at the bar.
Hey, what's everyone drinking?
30 minutes ago, Kyle got his friends another round of drinks.
Cheers!
5 minutes ago, Kyle decided to drive home drunk. A minute ago, a law enforcement officer pulled up behind Kyle.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
A chain of events that began 2 hours ago is about to change Kyle's whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
The holidays are coming, so gather your friends, family, acquaintances, pets, significant others, insignificant others, and even some total randos to watch Prime Video. We've got new holiday hits on Prime like Red One and seasonal staples like Die Hard and Love Actually. Rent or buy family favorites like Home Alone and Miracle on 34th Street. No matter who you gather, Prime Video has something for everyone. Restrictions apply. See Amazon.com/Prime for details.
Santa Claus is coming to town, and it's time to write him a letter. December 19th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m., Santa will be live on air reading letters and enjoying holiday tunes. Make sure to write your letters to Santa and drop them off at the Colby Event Center or FMB Bank in Goodland or St. Francis. Santa might just read your letter live on air on 100.3 The Ride and Flyover Country 97.9. So mark your calendars for December 19th and write your letters now, because Santa is coming to radio.
At FNB Bank, we know family comes first. Whether you're opening a savings account for your kids, buying a new home, or planning for the future, we're here to help every step of the way. With personalized service and flexible options, we make banking easy for your growing family. FNB Bank, serving families, strengthening communities. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
This holiday season, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware has the perfect gifts to make Christmas merry and bright. Need something special for that grill master? Check out their top line of grills and griddles from Blackstone, Traeger, and Weber. Food to make their holiday sizzle. Stocking stuffers, they've got you covered with tools, gadgets, and must-haves for every DIYer in your life. And tackle winter head-on with their powerful Eco snowblowers, perfect for clearing the way this season. Plus, spruce up your home for the holidays with a fresh coat of Benjamin Moore paint, or get ready for the new year with a stunning remodel. Enjoy the holidays this year with Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, with locations in Goodland and Colby.
This is Danny Zwaggart with the Schooler Company. Harvest is just around the corner, and your friends at Schooler are here to help you in any way we can. Whether it's an extra truck at Harvest or on-farm pickup, we're partners in helping your operation run as smoothly as possible. Need help with marketing your grain? No problem. We are in the markets 24/7, 365 days a year, and have various tools to create a marketing plan specific for your farming operation. Give Schooler a call today at 785-890-3639.
The year-end clearance is on at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Save big on remaining hail vehicles like a 2024 GMC 2500 with some hail repaired. You can still take an additional $8,000 off. Or drive away in a 24 GMC Sierra 1500 and save up to $8,500 off, including rebates on lightly hailed units. Plus, enjoy 0% financing for up to 36 months on select new GMC and Chevrolet vehicles. These deals won't last long. Visit Hurl Chevrolet GMC today or shop online at hurlchev.com and wrap up the year with incredible savings.
Your livelihood is important to you. You work hard to succeed in your farming operation, crop, livestock, home, vehicles, and special needs. We have you covered. Discounts are available for new business, remodeling, hail-resistive roofing, multi-policy, and many more. Optional coverage endorsements as well for machinery ingestion and equipment breakdown. Umbrella coverage for additional coverage on your home, farm, and auto. See the girls at the insurance agency at 1020 Main in Goodland or call 785-899-5011.
Natural gas is a safe, efficient fuel for your home. On its own, natural gas has no smell. That's why, for your safety, we odorize natural gas pipeline. That distinctive rotten egg smell could be a sign that you have a gas leak. If you have a compromised sense of smell, consider purchasing a methane detector. If you suspect a leak, don't touch light switches, use phones, or anything that could cause a spark. Get everyone out of the building immediately and call Midwest Energy. A safety message from Midwest Energy, a customer-owned cooperative making energy work for you.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4!
It's the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
Give me my cane. I'll show you how to play this game.
The region's only local sports talk.
Dynamite drop-in at broadcast school has really paid off.
Broadcasting on Goodland's Rocket 102.5, simulcasting on Goodland's 730 Gold KLOE.
Guy is everywhere.
Discussing it all from the preps.
Touchdown, the Cowboys!
To the pros.
And Timmy back on the track. It's out of here. Bobby Witt Jr. delivers a go-ahead grand slam.
The Blitz is presented by Pearl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank, as well as the Insurance Agency, Farmer State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work. Allie Cure picks up the basketball, bounces top of the key, 3 ball for Hope. Bierman splashes it in, a beautiful high arcing 3 that came right down through the center of the cylinder.
Here's Max Jones, the lob for CJ. He will score. From left to right, C.J. Jones scores and has 7, and Drake calls a timeout, and Jerome Tang is on fire.
Here's Brumbaugh in 36 seconds. Over to Thorson, open 3. Zach got one. Just the second 3 of the season for Zach Thorson. Puts her in the bottom of the bucket. And the Cowboys up 33-17.
Doug steps back, shoots the triple, swish. What a shot for Doug McDaniel. He's got 9. The Wildcats with 6 threes, and K-State leads at 60-57.
Here's Brumbaugh driving with the right. Picks up, spins, fadeaway 2. It falls. Brady Brumbaugh with 20 points, and we still have 5 minutes left to go in the first half.
Good Wednesday morning, everybody. We're back here on the Morning Blitz on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 and WKSradio.net. YouTube, Facebook, X with the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. Thank you so much for tuning in no matter which way you are doing so. Here on a chilly start to a Wednesday, December the 18th. Right now, clear and 18 degrees outside. On our way to a high of 50 here today on this Wednesday. It is a week before Christmas. Max, you got all that Christmas shopping done and ready to go for the family?
No.
No. Okay.
Not yet.
Working
I got to get on that. You're right. But not yet. Nope.
Don't feel too bad. I did some yesterday, so don't feel awful. So
yeah, I'm late. I'm late for sure, but I'll get it done.
Are you a shopper in person or a shopper online?
Online.
Even a guy from the city and being in Orlando and all that stuff, you could go shopping. You'd rather just do it all online.
Yeah, it's just easier. It's easier, and then I can just because I have to drive back, so I don't have to bring it or anything, or accidentally forget it. I can just order it to home back in KC.
Have it shipped to the folks' house in KC.
Exactly. That's the plan.
What time did you roll into bed last night? I got to ask.
It wasn't too bad. Probably 11:30.
11:30.
It wasn't too bad.
I hit the pillow at just after midnight last night, Mountain Time. Late night.
Yeah.
Late night last night. Got in around 11, but then had to get ready for the show and get some things ready to rock. So I had to spend about an hour doing that. A little less than that, but running on 6 hours of sleep, but that's okay. That's part of the job, especially this time of year with games on Tuesday nights. It's kind of the first Tuesday night that of this, since we've got back into the sports. It doesn't happen during the football season, really.
Right.
but it happens during the basketball season from time to time. So if I'm a little groggy this morning, I'll try not to act like it, but that would be the reason why. I usually got to have my 7 hours of sleep to be in a good spot, so I'm running a little bit low on that, but that's okay. We got a full show ahead today. Voice of the Kansas State Wildcats, Wyatt Thompson's going to join the show coming up here at the bottom of the hour. Look forward to visiting with him as Kansas State basketball loses to Drake in overtime, as yours truly thought would happen. They would lose to Drake, and they did. We'll get some thoughts on that. We'll also talk about Kansas State football as the season has come to a close. We'll have some recap thoughts on K-State as they get ready for the Rate Bowl. It's no longer guaranteed. It's just a rate. And then we'll get some more thoughts on the team going forward. So plenty to get to with Wyatt Thompson coming up here in about 15 to 20 minutes. Interesting article coming out on ESPN this morning about Adam Silver looking into some thoughts on three-point shooting. I got some thoughts on that as well. And I love the comments from Adam Silver. We'll get to that in segment 3 and a few other small things to get to in the walk-off. But last night, a busy night of high school basketball. And that's where Max and I were. I was down in Scott City. Max was down in Colby. I saw a couple of very entertaining games for 2 different reasons down in Scott City. I saw the Goodland Cowgirls get down by 10 at halftime, put it together in the second half, and then come back and beat Scott City on the road 43-41. That's a really good Scott City team that they came back and beat. That was a huge performance from the Cowgirls. Lauren Linton with a career-high 16 points. Hope Bierman, who was running on practically 2 to 3 hours of sleep, put in 12 points last night to help power the Cowgirls in a come-from-behind victory. That was an impressive showing because they got down early. Scott City looked really good. And then the third quarter came, and all of a sudden, Scott City forgot that you can't throw it to the other team, and Goodland took advantage of it, got right back in the game, took the lead, and never relinquished it, 43-41. That was a really impressive win from the Cowgirls, who showed some really good grit and in that second half. And then the boys' game, it was entertaining because I expected a top 10 matchup. That's what it was. Scott City came in the most recent rankings that came out yesterday, number 9 in 3A, and Goodland was number 2. Expected it to be a good game. That was not the case. The Cowboys wiped the floor of Scott City behind a career-high 33 points from Brady Brumbaugh, and he had 20 with 5 minutes left to go in the first half. He came out and just was a man on a mission powering the Cowboys. Lincoln Cure was in foul trouble pretty much all night. Didn't make up an impact. It did not matter. Brady Brumbaugh was a dude last night. 64-43. They beat Scott City. They held Jackson Rumford, their star player for the Beavers, to 13 points and 9 boards, which was a quiet night for his standards. And the Cowboys just looked really good last night. I mean, they're beating teams on average by 25 points. That's on average. They're beating teams by 25 points. So far, they have not met a team that can hang with them when they are playing their best. And last night, their defense was just fantastic. And then Brady Brumbaugh just had one of those nights where he went off. And that's what happened last night. So, but credit to Brady. He's a dude. He's a fantastic player. He's probably, if not the best, one of the best in all of Western Kansas. And he's put in a ton of work over the course of his life, whether that's going to camps or playing summer league ball. And it's all paying off here as he is powering the Cowboys to a great start here in 2024-25.
Brady is he's a sniper. That's how I describe him.
Yeah, I used to call his brother, because his brother he looked kind of the same. I called him the Slim Reaper. Brady's really the real Slim Reaper. I mean, Brady was in his bag last night. He can hit a whole bunch of threes. Last night he only hit 2. He did it all going to the bucket on offensive rebounds. It was a complete performance from Brady. Wow. He was a dude last night, an absolute dude. So
is he committed anywhere?
No, I think I know there's a lot of junior colleges that want him. I know Colby Community College, Garden City is very interested. Yes, last night Pratt Community College was there. Kenny Eddy, who coaches Colby's Hunter Vaughn, who, by the way, shout out Hunter Vaughn, the player of the week in the KJCCC, was named the conference player of the week. Former Colby guard Hunter Vaughn was named the conference player of the week in the Jayhawk conference for his performances last week. But yeah, Kenny Eddy was there for Pratt Community College, their head coach, talking to Brady. I don't know. I've heard some rumblings. It's not my story to tell. I have heard some rumblings on some bigger schools getting some more information. But we'll see about that. That seems to be a little bit down the road. If I was Brady, and once again, it's just me, I'm no expert, I would just sit and wait and just keep playing ball. Just keep playing ball, keep putting up these performances where you're putting up 20 points a game, 30 points a game. just doing what you do, leading your team to wins, and then see where the chips fall when it comes to February, March. Just kind of, it's got to be so hard to be a basketball recruit. I mean, it's hard being a football recruit, but it's got to be so hard being a basketball recruit because there's only 15 spots, 12 spots on a roster.
Yeah, it's tough.
And so it's small. So I think the longer you can wait to where you see if a big time school, I'm not saying big time school, but a bigger school has I don't want to say a dropout, but maybe someone doesn't come after all, then they got an open spot. Like, hey, would you like this spot? Yes. So I guess if it was me, and I'm not, but if it was me, I would sit there and I would just wait a little bit. I would just wait a little bit on that. But no, he's playing fantastic basketball. The Cowboys and Cowgirls have big games coming up on Friday. Another long road trip down to Hugoton long road trip down to Hugoton to wrap up the 2024 slate. And that'll be a tough one. I mean, the Cowboys haven't beaten Hugoton in a long time. I don't think since 2017. I think they haven't beaten them since then. So that's tough. Great wins last night for the Goodland Cowboys and Cowgirls. That was impressive showing down in Scott City. It was a split last night in Holcomb. Lady Eagles win 57-44. And then I heard Holcomb shot the lights out of the gym 74-59 to beat the Eagles. What are your thoughts? You were there live and in person, amigo.
That's true. I was there live and in person calling the game. 2-hour drive on Friday. I was just looking that up. Sorry for Cimarron for us because I know you guys are going on.
Yeah, it's a long drive. I mean, it's 3 hours for us to get to Cimarron. So those are Cimarron and and Hugoton, longest road trip for us up here, no doubt.
But yesterday, I guess starting off with the Lady Eagles, they I would say their worst first half. It was kept close. A lot of 3-point. I mean, really, both these Holcomb teams can shoot the ball extremely well. But then it was there was one timeout. I talked to Coach Walker about this after the game, but where really for the first time this season, I could tell the leadership was really showing on the bench of Barton getting fired up and trying to get their team back in it. And from that point on, the Eagles ran away with the game, and that was a really good sign. Just to see them show, they haven't really been through any adversity so far this year in the first 4 games. They've just been blowing everyone out of the water. So to see them go through that and come out on top and see them fired up was a great sign. Allie Flanagan had 5 3-pointers, which was incredible. She was shooting lights out from beyond the arc, and they weren't they were deep threes. Like she was pulling up from a couple steps behind the arc. So she played really good. The defense continues to play well. Logan Nolan didn't have her best game, but everyone else stepped up. Brent Staley had a good game as well. I think she had 9 points, which was her highest this year. So overall, it was good to see them spread the ball more in this game. And great stuff from the Lady Eagles. And then for the boys team, no Grant Stevens last night, so they ran the 5 Kersenbrock, Tubbs, Carroll, Jones, Foss the entire game, no subs. 5 guys the whole entire game. And I don't really feel like they didn't look fatigued. They really didn't until like the last 3 minutes of the game, but it was already over by then. But they just got outshot. I mean, the Holcomb shot the ball so they hit 11 threes. And it was just Colby would get back into the game. They got to within 5 and then a turnover. And then Holcomb would go on another 5-0 run. And it was that for throughout the entire second and third quarter. And then the fourth quarter, they just broke it open. I mean, Brody Dennison played fantastic. He has got some speed and got some shiftiness to him. So does Caden Hardy. I feel like had 4 or 5 of their 3-pointers. He played fantastic. But yeah, really just out shooting Colby. And I think the thing with the Eagles and boys team is just going to be, who's the third scorer going to be? Where are you going to get the production from after Jones and Tubbs? Foss starting to get a little more aggressive, and I like to see that because I think he's going to be that guy. Case and Carroll, not going to be the most productive on offense besides getting rebounds and passing. And then Kersenbrock played well with Stevens out, so it's going to be interesting to see who takes that next step forward for this Colby team because they're in need of some more production because they can't just be Jordan Jones and Guy Tubbs.
It really, and this is once again, it's just my personal thoughts on it. It just really makes me wonder, like, what else is beneath the 5 if you can't play another guy?
Yeah,
I mean, how big is the drop off there from 5 to 6? I mean, it may be big, but I mean, how are you preparing your other players for the future? You're going to lose Tubbs after this year. He will be gone. You're losing Grant Stevens after this year. And Foss, I think, is gone too, right? He's a senior.
Yeah.
You're losing 3 guys, and Kirstenbrock's gone, right? He's senior.
Yes, he's also.
Yeah, you're losing. So how are you getting anybody else ready for this upcoming season? That'll be my biggest thing.
Well, they also have a lot of seniors on the bench.
Last night, well, I guess that's a valid point. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you're not. You've got to find a way to get yourself in a decent position to have any type of success next year, just not a complete and total letdown. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting because I saw Grant Stevens wasn't there and I was like, is he just gonna run 5 guys out there the entire game? And credit to them because they're conditioned. Their conditioning is fantastic because I'm
not doubting that.
No, I know, but it's just even if it's not showing it, it's still and it definitely has effect when you're going up against fresh legs, and it did show. Don't get me wrong, it did show because Hardy and Dennison were blowing by the perimeter defense of Colby throughout the entire game. So don't get me wrong, it did show in that aspect, but I don't know how much of that was just them being more talented offensively and getting by, or if it was tired legs. But that's the kind of risk you run when you only play 5 players for the whole game.
Yeah, no, you're right. What was the score of the girls' game they got down by? You said again, Colby girls were down by what?
The girls were down. They weren't down by much. They were down by probably 4.
Oh, okay. All right.
No, it wasn't. But
wasn't that much of a hole to dig out of. Okay.
No, but they got fired up on the. I like to see them getting fired up on the bench, and that was the first time this year I've seen that.
So Colby boys have dropped 2 in a row. Girls are off to a 5-0 start. By the way, ranked in the most recent rankings, they are up to 4 in the state. So
as
from
they
unranked to 4th, as they should be. I would agree. They need to be ranked. They are really, really good. We did have a texter text in, Brian, talking about the Cowboys, talking about the other players on the floor. Their presence on the floor was huge. There's no doubt. I mean, Brady Brumbaugh did all the scoring, but the defense as an entire team was spectacular. I mean, Braylon Mole and Kaysen Cedarstrom and Zach Thorson they hounded Scott City's guards. I mean, hounded them and did not let them get any sort of rhythm. I mean, hounded them. And then Jackson Rumford picked up 3 fouls, and that really changed the game when he has 3 fouls. I mean, Lincoln Cure had 3 fouls, so it was kind of a wash, but that changed the game when he's not on the floor. But I mean, it was a total complete win, but Brady Brumbaugh had himself a night last night. That was for sure an impressive showing. Some other scores from last night as we'll track down. Hoxie girls picked up another win. I think they're unbeaten. They beat Hayes TMP 49-24. Wallace County won at Weskin 55-23. Decatur Community a win over Hill City 58-14 on the girls' side. Boys scores, Hoxie losing to TMP at home by 9, 50-41. Weskin unbeaten, remains perfect on the season. They roll Wallace County at home 67-39. Decatur Community with an upset of Hill City 50-48. Hill City's been a great men's program for a long time underneath long-time head coach Keith. But Decatur Community gets the win last night by 2. And then Rollins County beats Shiloh 57-49. A few of the scores I could track down from last night late. So, and of course, the regular season will wrap up, or sorry, not the regular season, the 2024 portion of the season will wrap up coming up here on Friday before the holiday break and the winter moratorium, and then back to action in January. Also, last night, did not get to watch a second of this game, and I'm very disappointed not.
Me neither.
Kansas State lost to Drake 73-70 in overtime, as yours truly said that probably would happen, dropping the Wildcats to 6-4. It was quite a ball game. Kansas State got down by 20 in the first half, only to come back and tie it, send it to overtime. In the overtime period, with less than 15 seconds, Coleman Hawkins hits a 3 to tie the ball game up at 70 apiece, only to see Bennett Sturts go back down the other end. The KC native bury a triple with 3 seconds left to give the Bulldogs the victory over the Wildcats, giving the Wildcats a 6-4 mark, and the Bulldogs of Drake an unbeaten perfect 10-0 record. I called this, people. There is a reason. I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to go on a tangent here.
Go ahead.
Oh, and there was another thing, too. Then there was a whole bunch in social media and and even it was mentioned in the postgame. There was so much negativity from fans and supporters of the K-State men's basketball program, so much negativity that they were talking about it in the postgame press conference. Like Coleman Hawkins talked about how someone sent him a message saying, hope you choke on something and die. I mean, I'm not kidding you. There was so much negativity. And if you read all the people who follow K-State basketball, all the experts and stuff, there were a lot of people saying, oh, that was inexcusable. That was a horrible loss. All this stuff, so on and so forth for Kansas State basketball. First and foremost, I've been calling this for a while. This Drake program is going to be good this year. I'm not going to be shocked if they're in the Sweet 16. This is not a bad loss if you're Kansas State. It's a tough loss to swallow because my guess is those players there are making pennies compared to the amount of money that you're making at Kansas State. They've thrown a lot of money into that basketball program, including Coleman Hawkins, who's, I think, making over 7 figures to be on that basketball team. And Kansas State is 6-4 with this record. There is some audio from last night I want to play. First and foremost, Coach Tang with his post-game thoughts. The overall point of his thought was that he was very proud of his team. They got down by 20 because a young man by the name of, gosh darn it, I got to find his name, Mitch Muscari, former Northwest Missouri State Bearcat, go Bearcats. He had 6 3-pointers and 18 points in the first half to help give a 20-point lead. But Coach Tang talked about how proud he was of his team fighting back from that 20-point deficit last night.
Yeah, no, I'm so proud of our guys and their fight and their togetherness, and you just saw so much growth in the course of that game. All the, stuff that we've been going through and we've been trying to overcome, and you just saw them come together and how they was talking to each other in the huddles and going out there and executing what they were doing. And I just have to do a better job for them, man. At the end of regulation, I got to give them something better that we could have won the game there. And, when Cole hits the 3, I should have called my timeout so we could have set our defense. And, there's just so many things that I could do better for them, but they brought an effort that gave us a chance to win, more than a chance to win. And I have to do a better job for them.
They brought the effort after the first, 10 minutes of the game. That's when the effort showed up. So it wasn't a great start, obviously. Now, Tang mentioned that, late in the game, he needed to probably use a timeout, get him in better position. So he's going to take some of the blame for that loss as well. But I'm telling you what, it's amazing to me to just hear the thoughts and then to read all the comments from K-State basketball fans. The worst thing, and this is not my opinion, Max, the worst thing that could have happened for probably Jerome Tang was to, in his first year, make an Elite 8 run. You set expectations at a spot that, I'm sorry, are just not attainable every single year. You caught lightning in a bottle, and because of that, you got a brand new extension and pay raise right out of the gate. You were able to combine the right group of players to play out of their gourds for a season. That gave you a brand new contract extension, and ever since then, you really haven't lived up to the expectation of making it back to the tournament first and foremost, or winning in the tournament since then. That is a huge problem that K-State fans have to realize. This program is not the same as Kansas or anything like that. It's not. It's a good program. Don't get me wrong, but it's not the same. You cannot expect to be in the Elite 8 every single year. And they need to start realizing that. And the problem is they paid Jerome Tang, who I think is a great man and a great coach. I don't have anything against him. But they paid him a whole lot of money, and he's trying to figure things out after he caught lightning in a bottle in year 1. And these are the things that are happening. There's another comment real quickly before I get you. This was Coach Tang talking about Drake, and I want everybody to hear what he has to say about this Drake team, especially early on in the comment.
Those guys were moving that thing, man. Like they're so good, and when you've been together, you got a guy that's been in the system 6 years, another one's been in the system. 2 guys been in the system 6 years. 1 guy's been in the system 5 years. Another one's been in the system 3 years. Right there, I mean, like he has so much he can go to, like layers to what they do. And man, we switched our defense, and we was able to stymie him, and then we were able to make some shots and do some really good things. And this is a building block, and we're going to keep improving and keep fighting and keep grinding, and our best basketball is ahead of us.
The point I wanted to make there was Coach Tang talking about how much experience was on the floor for Drake. It might not have been Division I experience, but it was experience in the game of basketball and playing with each other. That is the point I want to make. This is the problem, particularly in the game of basketball, where you need to kind of know your teammates a little bit to make yourself look good. When you go to the portal every year and redo your roster every year, you don't build that kind of chemistry like Drake has. They've got guys that have played together since they were freshmen in college, and now they're in their 5th and 6th years of playing. And Coach McCollum is smart enough to know I've got all kinds of plays that I can throw other things on top of it, and they know what they're doing because we played together for so long. There is a benefit to building a team and keeping it together for the length of time, but that does not happen anymore because of the portal and NIL and money. That's why Drake is good. They have a coach who's fantastic, and he's got players that he knows that know his system, and they play it and execute it to perfection. And that's why they're unbeaten at this point in time, and they're going to make a deep postseason run. And that's one of the reasons why Kansas State and KU and all these other big-time programs struggle, is because they do not stick together long enough to build the chemistry you need to have success at the level you want to have it. So K-State fans need to back off, give Coach Tang and the players a break. They caught lightning in a bottle a couple years ago. It's a tough build from this point forward, and give all the credit to Drake. They're playing fantastic basketball right now, Coach McCollum.
Well, I've got a couple things about this game.
Please. Sorry, I had to go off this morning. I drove home thinking about this, and I was just, it just takes me off that fans
it was
are mad
all
at the K-State
100% valid, and I've got nothing to say or argue about what you said, so I'm kind of going to go to a different part of this. But well, first off, I didn't realize this. I called Tavian Banks when he was at Northwest Florida State back in Florida, so that's pretty sick. That was the number one JUCO at the time in the country, and there was a JUCO shootout. Anyway, I just was looking through their roster and saw that. But Ben McCollum in his presser said Kansas City is an incredibly under-recruited area. This is an outstanding answer.
Dennis Sturts, by the way, the point guard hit the winner, was from KC, or is from KC.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm looking at their whole roster, really. I mean, they've got 1, 2, 3, Wichita, Liberty. They've got a bunch from Kansas, Overland Park. There you go, right? Blue Valley Northwest, right from around me. But yeah, I mean, it's cool to see that much success with all these Kansas City and Kansas guys on their team. It's really awesome to see. And you were 100% right in saying that that this Drake team was something to watch with Ben McCollum and their coaching and his coaching that he's done. But it is true to say that. And it is honestly similar. You're seeing a lot of this in the NBA too, and it's just kind of basketball. This is how basketball works. The more chemistry you have, the better your team is. When they play together and know the system well, they're gonna be the best team, because that's just what it is.
Well, know when a teammate's going to backdoor cut. You know when they're going to pop out. You know that stuff. Teams today don't know that because they only play together for a year.
Exactly.
Just sit down and watch a game of college basketball, folks. I guarantee half of the players on that roster of the teams you're watching played at least, if not 1, for sure 2, and maybe even 3 years at a different school. And I'm talking 3 different schools, not just one other school.
Yeah, and it's clear. It's very obvious when you watch the game. You don't have to even look at the roster or know who any of them are. You can tell, oh, this team has played together longer than the other team. And sometimes talent will prevail because that's just how basketball is. But for the most part, at any level of basketball, the more experience you have with the players on the court, the better you're going to be. The more your team is going to, just relish off the fact that where this player is going to be. The communication on defense is more solid. There's not going to be as many mistakes made. And I think it's tough when you're a school like K-State, when you're not getting I know you get Coleman Hawkins, but you're not filling up a roster the way like Bill Self is for KU with just talent year in after year, that when you're not building 5 guys that have played together for 4 years, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
That's why KU has problems too, because they're starting over every single year.
Right, but I'm saying that KU, the difference is that KU does have enough talent where it will just push past sometimes. I know it is shown. It is shown that in the Missouri game and other games that it doesn't work.
That's why a lot of programs like Kansas State need to think, you know what, we don't need to go. We need to get a star here, a star there, but then we need to build within our program and develop our guys. But it's so hard to do because if the guys aren't getting playing time, they're going in the portal, going somewhere else.
I think it'll go back to that, Ross. I have faith that it will go back to that. I think it's just kind of right now, that's kind of the hot trend of like, let's go now, get all these players. And I think it will show when you're going to see teams like Drake and other smaller schools that have done this make longer runs than those teams that buy in on players in the offseason. So I think
don't get me wrong. Drake brought in a bunch of guys from Northwest Missouri State to follow their coach. So
but they played together, though.
They played together at the other stop.
Right.
Yeah,
So
you know what happened in Indiana? You know what Indiana football's playing the cultural playoff here on Friday, right?
Yeah.
Why are they there? Because the head coach brought most of his team from James Madison to Indiana. That's why this test. We're having a college basketball example right now in the version of Drake. 100%. He brought his great players from his great program at D2 Northwest Missouri State to Drake, and that's why they're having the success that they're having.
Absolutely.
By the way, Mitch Mascari, 25 points. Bennett Sturts, 22. They were playing for the green of Northwest Missouri State last year, a season ago. They went off for 47 last night to get Kansas State.
And then quickly, because I know we're kind of a little bit
way
over time.
overdue.
We're
That's
over.
Problem.
but K-State will play Wichita State next.
Yeah.
Wichita State lost to the Kansas City Roos. Baby, go Roos. Roos were 14-point underdogs, and shocked the Shockers. So I'll always love seeing the Roos have some success. So yeah, that was a cool final score to see last night.
College basketball in the state of Kansas, pretty much. Besides KC.
Yeah, well, KC's not in Kansas, right?
Is it in Missouri?
I want to say the campus is in Missouri.
I guess it is.
Hey, Grandpa.
It used to be UMKC, so that means it was in Missouri.
Right. If I'm wrong, then Grandpa Gersh will correct me.
Gersh, what he got? He'll get us right.
He'll get us
right. It. Where's the producer, Grandpa Gersh?
Right.
Anyway, but I think you're right. Is he in Missouri? So it was a bad night for Kansas basketball last night. K-State and Wichita State both losing to smaller programs. But hey, that's the way it falls. But anyway, K-State fans got to back off, lower their expectations a little bit.
Yes,
it'll be okay. Just it's hard. And credit to Drake. That is going to be a team that's going to be playing deep. Thank you, Grandpa Gershon. Appreciate it. Yes, in Missouri. That's gonna make a deep run. All right, we're going to get to a break. When we come back, our good friend Wyatt Thompson can join the show next. Listen to the Morning Blitz.
This holiday season, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware has the perfect gifts to make Christmas merry and bright. Need something special for that grill master? Check out their top line of grills and griddles from Blackstone, Traeger, and Weber. Guaranteed to make their holiday sizzle. Stocking stuffers, they've got you covered with tools, gadgets, and must-haves for every DIYer in your life. And tackle winter head-on with their powerful Eco snowblowers, perfect for clearing the way this season. Plus, spruce up your home for the holidays with a fresh coat of Benjamin Moore paint, or get ready for the new year with a stunning remodel. Enjoy the holidays this year with Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, with locations in Goodland and Colby.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning. This is Tom Saluto with the Anderson Trade Group with your overnight market report on December the 18th. In the overnight session, March corn was unchanged at 443, May unchanged at 450, and July unchanged at 452.5. G and soybeans were down 12.5 at 964. March soybeans down 13.5 at 965, and May down 14.5 at 972. Kansas City hard red winter wheat, March was up 2 at 555. May is up 2 at 562.5, and July up 2 at 570.25. Dow Jones is currently up 107 points at 44,074. S&P is unchanged at 6,129. NASDAQ is down 30 points at 22,285. Gold is slightly down at 26.60. And crude oil is up 1% at 70.75 a barrel.
Imagine having 86% more days with perfect weather. Imagine having an extra 4 hours every morning or a combine that's 86% more powerful. That's the feeling of a Revitec fungicide harvest. Revitec is proven to outperform the competition 86% of the time, providing up to 9.5 more bushels per acre. It's the #1 recommended choice by growers. Visit Revitec.com and look forward to a future that's 86% more secure. Always read and follow label directions.
Available at Next Tech Wireless in 4 bold colors: black, pink, teal, and ultramarine. Which iPhone 16 color will you choose? Built for Apple Intelligence with the all-new A18 chip, a new feature camera control, and a big boost in battery life. Get the new iPhone 16 on us. Next Tech Wireless. Home on the range.
It's the Morning Blitz.
We're having a great time, couple of laughs, everything's nice.
Weekday mornings from 7 to 8 Mountain, 8 to 9 Central.
Back here on a Wednesday morning, 7:42 Mountain, 8:42 Central Time. Going to be once again 50 degrees today. Currently sitting at 19 and sunny. We're pleased to welcome to the show again our good friend from the K-State Sports Network, the voice of Kansas State. That would be Wyatt Thompson. Joins us now on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline. Good morning, Wyatt. How much sleep did you get last night with that night in Kansas City?
You know, it's funny you ask that because I pay attention to these kind of things from time to time. Last night, I pulled into my driveway as my clock in my vehicle was moving from 11:59 p.m. to midnight. So it wasn't awful. It was a disappointing ball game from the standpoint of they fought back from 20 down, had a chance, but just didn't win the game. And it's been a struggle for this team, no doubt. But yeah, you got kind of get used to it. I'm kind of one of those guys that I can go for a little bit without a lot of sleep, come in and get my work done, and then get out of here middle of the afternoon, call it good.
No, I understand. We understand on this show. We got in. My head hit the pillow at at midnight Mountain, 1 o'clock Central Time last night, getting home from the basketball games late night. So we know exactly what you're talking about there, Wyatt.
Sure, you bet.
What does it tell us, sticking with the basketball in the game last night, the 73-70 loss to Drake? What does it tell us about the state of college basketball that you have a Drake team made up of a bunch of Division II transfers that have played together for multiple years and take down a Division I program with a bunch of high-level talent in Kansas State? They're in a pretty much a neutral site game, but pretty heavy K-State fans. What does it tell us about the game of basketball?
Well, I think it's very competitive. I think there are more good players now than ever before. And let's be honest, none of us are perfect. And sometimes you make mistakes in recruiting. And I would look at that Drake team and say, how in the world do you miss on Bennett Sturtz and Mitch Mascari in terms of what they are? Now, in fairness, neither guy was really all that heavily recruited. Bennett told me before the game that he was begging for a Division I offer and didn't get one. And this is a guy that plays basically 39, 40 minutes a game. He's a junior who, I mean, you saw what he did. He's just a wonderful talent. Much more skilled, I think, than people see. Sometimes I think you get labeled, and that's a problematic thing too. But I'll be honest, I loved watching them play because they're so smart. They've got those 4 kids that played at Northwest that know that system inside and out, and a couple of 2 or 3 or 4 other pieces that make them pretty good. Are they the most athletic team? Not necessarily, but they know how to play the game. And it shows you there's more than one way to do it, I think. That's just me.
Why, we were just talking before the break about the difference between K-State and Drake being, Drake has played together for a lot of them have played together before in this system, whereas K-State's got a lot of kind of new guys coming in. What are your thoughts on those different styles of basketball, and which do you think has a better future for success come March?
Well, I think it depends on how you want to look at it. I don't think there's any question. I mean, zero, that K-State has more length and more athleticism than Drake. I think Drake right now, because of how well they're coached and the fact that those 4 kids, Abreu, Mascari, Jackson, and Sturtz have played so long together, and those other guys know their role, they're going to win a lot of games at their level just because that's what they do and that's who they are. If you're talking late March and you want to make a run, they always talk about good guard play, right? You better have a scorer or two, but you better have a facilitator. And I think they have that in Bennett Sturtz. I'm not saying K-State doesn't, but I do think that they're contrasting, no question about that. But I'm just going to be blunt and say this. The people that look at Drake and don't see any athleticism and just a bunch of, sorry for the phrasing here, but it's just a bunch of white kids running around. I'm just telling you, it's the truth. That they can play. They're good.
Dang straight they
can.
Hey,
dude, I don't care what level you're at. The guy won 4 national championships in Division II. You know how hard that is to do?
Yep.
That's impressive.
Preach. That's all we can say, Wyatt. Just preach. I could not agree more. I've been on this high horse for a long time. I'm a Northwest Missouri State grad myself. I know Coach McCollum a little bit.
Really? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I graduated Northwest Missouri State, not super long ago, but a while ago. And I know Coach McCollum a little bit. I know he's a hell of a coach. I guarantee you, Wyatt, mark my words, he will be at a big-time program in the next 10 years playing probably an Elite Eight or Final Four. He's that good of a coach. It
wouldn't surprise me just because I just know this. I've known Coach Tang now going on 3 basketball seasons, and the way he talked about him and their team to me when we were doing pregame for last night's broadcast, just the respect he has. I kind of equate it to Chris Kleiman, winning at North Dakota State. And when he was brought in here, everybody says that's the best they can do is get an FCS coach. I'm sorry that I never have for 1 second looked at it like that. The guy won national championships there. He knows what he's doing, and he's done pretty well here.
Well, it's just like anything, Wyatt. If you can coach anywhere. If you can play anywhere. Same type of thing. So Wyatt Thompson, voice of the Kansas State Wildcats, joining us here on the morning.
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, think about it from this perspective. Did you think, as an example, a guy like Dennis Rodman was a pretty good NBA player?
Yes.
Can you tell me where he went to college?
Yes, it was in Oklahoma. What was this small school? Gosh darn it. Owasso? Gosh darn it. Why can't I think of it?
Southwest Oklahoma.
Yeah, somewhere in Oklahoma, small D2 school. Dennis Rodman.
So my point is that it's not like they're turning out a lot of NBA guys.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can play, they will find you. Now, they do miss occasionally, and that's what I was saying about Sturtz a moment ago. For people to watch him and think he can't play at Division I, they need to have their head examined.
Wyatt Thompson, our guest in the Morning Blitz. I want to go back to, I have a thought here on Coach Tang. The first year, of course, he came, everything fell into place for him. They had the great guard play. They had star players, and they made an amazing Elite Eight run. And the last 2 years, I don't think K-State fans in particular have seen the type of success they're hoping for after a first season. It's always great to have a great season, but how tough is it to overcome a great first season, kind of catching lightning in a bottle, and then trying to continue to build your program when you set the expectations so high from the start?
Well, it's a great question, and I love it because it is exceptionally hard. I think you can look at it a lot of different ways, but here's the way I would try to answer your question. I think K-State was exceptionally fortunate to get a guy as late as they did in Keontae Johnson, who a lot of people didn't want to touch because of his medical condition prior. But K-State did its due diligence and talked to 4 different doctors, I believe, if I remember right. And he was cleared to play, and the guy's a fringe NBA guy. And then the job that Coach Tang did with Marquise Noel, and they struggled a little bit early on to kind of get on the same page. But once they figured each other out, they went to a different stratosphere, honestly. And so when you have 2 electric talents like that, and then guys that know their roles, as an example, people out there that love K-State will remember Desi Sills. Desi was a superb piece for the team. He wasn't the only one, but you surround 2 really difference-making guys with 3 or 4 other guys that know their roles. It's a little bit different, but it's not that much different from those kids at Northwest and what they've done. I mean, championships are championships. It's just, I guess that's how I'll answer it. I think it's exceptionally hard just because they were so great in this first year, and it's hard to replicate that.
Visiting with the voice of the Kansas State Wildcats, Wyatt Thompson. Wyatt, from that experience, going back to the Elite Eight run, and you said that team had to kind of gel together. When does Kansas State need to start kind of seeing the team gel together to start going in the right direction, in your opinion? What kind of marking point or bench point do you have to get to?
Well, I was hoping it would be last night, and I thought at 29-9 there's no chance. And then they get the game to overtime. I guess you say it that way. They actually had a chance to win it in regulation, but lost it in overtime on a flurry there at the end where, K-State ties it with a Coleman Hawkins long three, and then Sturtz goes down and wins it with about 3.4 seconds to go. They are running out of time to a degree in terms of the non-con because there's only one game left. And let's regardless of what happens, K-State is 6-4 now. Whether they go into the league race at 6-5 or whether they win that game in Wichita on Saturday and are 7-4, they're still facing an uphill climb when you get into the 20-game league schedule, just because the games are so hard. I don't know how. I know you do your due diligence. I'm not saying you don't, but if you have not studied K-State's schedule, they have one of the 3 or 4 hardest schedules remaining in all of college basketball. So it's hard to make up ground when you're facing that. Is it impossible? No, but they're going to have to do some things better than they have at this point. And some of those things will include, as Coach said prior to the game last night, buying into the system and believing in it and getting better in it, then rebounding, which has been problematic for K-State last year and this year. And then, that secondary, basically transition defense. If they can get enough better at those things, I think they can win their share of games. But, hey, it is an uphill climb now, and they've kind of put themselves in that spot.
Once again, Wyatt Thompson joining us on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline. I want to transition over to football for just a little bit here, Wyatt, because the regular season is in the books, and the Rate Bowl awaits Kansas State coming up here. We talked before the season began. We had lots of thoughts and comments on Kansas State football. When you look back at where you thought the team would be at the beginning of the season to where they are now, where do you kind of stand? Where were you right? Kind of where were you wrong?
Well, I think where I was right was a team that had good leadership, and I think that proved out even through some bumps in the road late. You remember now, I'll remind you and your listeners that there was a time when K-State was rolling along at 7-1, and everybody thought they had a real shot at Arlington, maybe a real shot at the 12-team playoff, and that didn't happen. They didn't play as well in the last month or so of the season. So at least from my expectations, I would say it this way. I was expecting them to have an 8 or 9 win campaign. Could it be better if some things clicked, or could it be a little bit off of that if they didn't? That was the real question, because when you look at the leadership of the team, as an example, defensively, when you have a Brendan Mott, you have an Austin Moore and a Marquis Siegel, that's pretty good. Probably even throw Damian Elalio in there. Offensively, you've got guys that have been around like a Hadley Panzer and DJ Giddens and Keegan Johnson and those kinds of guys. But you're also starting a true sophomore quarterback. Very gifted, but not a lot of experience. And experience does matter. I think he was really pretty good as a true sophomore. Some of the best numbers in K-State history. Was he what K-State fans had hoped for? Probably fell a little short about that. So I think overall, I'm going to say it was in the hemisphere of what I was thinking. But hey, it's always it always flows a little bit. Could they have been a little bit better? Sure. But if they had to go into Boulder and win that game again, would they? Would they win again in Tulane? You don't know that stuff, right? So, hey, we are what we are, as they like to say.
Yeah, those 50-50 games are always hard to call because you could always look and say, well, we won that game, but we easily could have lost that game as too. I personally think like Kansas State had the season I thought they would, particularly with a young quarterback and a rebuilding offensive line. I think that season was about right on par with how I think it all played out. We're in silly season now, Wyatt, with a whole bunch of movement across all of college football with, coaching staff changes and player movement. There really hasn't been that much at Kansas State. What does it say about Coach Kleiman's program that things stay pretty steady, Eddie?
Well, I think Steady Eddie is who he is. And I mean that with the utmost respect. I think he's been like that since he walked in here. It was, I'm sure, not easy for him following a legend like Bill Snyder, but I don't think it ever really bothered him much. He was confident in what he had done up until that point in his career. at North Dakota State and other stops. He's just a grinder who believes in what he is, what he does, how he goes about it. He's got guys that work for him that are pretty similar, I think. And each year he's been here, I would profess to you that I think their recruiting has been a little bit better and a little bit better. They've really only had the 1 year with COVID that was hard. Everything else has been a bowl season. And I think that's pretty steady. So, and that's, again, what he is. I love the young people in this program. I think they've got a chance to do some special things in the next, handful of years. We'll see how that plays out. But I've always felt that Coach Kleiman is one of the more consistent guys in the league. And if you look at winning in this conference, especially with those that have been in it a while, he's been as good as anybody. And that's reality.
What are you looking for? We'll let you go after this. What are you looking for in this Rate Bowl coming up here or the day after Christmas? What are you looking for to see for Kansas State? Some people, in today's day and age of college football, they're saying, well, now these games are, because the rosters are changing because the portal, it could be a preview of what we expect to see in 2025. What are you hoping to see here from this Kansas State team here in the final game of this upcoming season in the Rate Bowl on the 26th?
Well, it's a great question, Bud. And I say that because I think when you look back to last year, K-State was really motivated to win that game. Did they have an opt-out or two? Yeah. But those guys that really mattered, the Cooper Beebes, they were all in and played. I don't know that that's necessarily going to be the case here. If I'm just guessing now, I'm not expecting DJ Giddens to play. I'm not expecting Jacob Parrish to play. Both of those guys are preparing for what they hope will be successful NFL careers. That will be impactful. We don't know if their best running back at Rutgers, the Monungai kid, will go either. He's a pro prospect. I'm sure his agent is telling him to not go. It is different now in college football because of the portal and all of that. So I think it is a little bit of a mixture of, finishing off what you've done this year, but preparing for 2025. And then you just hope you get a team that is happy to be there and wants to do something good, right? I don't think it's any more complex than that. It's hard to do too, by the way.
Absolutely. Voice of the Kansas State Wildcats, friend of the program, Wyatt Thompson, here on a Wednesday morning. Wyatt, thank you so much for sacrificing some sleep this morning. We appreciate you getting up with us, and we'll catch up with you soon. All right. Be well, sir.
That sounds great. Always great to be on with you, sir. I appreciate it, bud.
Once again, great stuff there from Wyatt Thompson, voice of the Kansas State Wildcats. And a former man who sat in this position. I don't know if you knew that, Max. He used to be here.
Really?
Yep, he used to be. His first job was here in Goodland. So.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, pretty cool.
That's
All right,
awesome.
let's get to a break. We'll come back, and we will get to our final segment and wrap things up here on a Wednesday. This is the Morning Blitz.
The year-end clearance is on at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Save big on remaining hail vehicles like a 2024 GMC 2500 with some hail repaired. You can still take an additional $8,000 off. Or drive away in a 24 GMC Sierra 1500 and save up to $8,500 off, including rebates on lightly hailed units. Plus, enjoy 0% financing for up to 36 months on select new GMC and Chevrolet vehicles. These deals won't last long. Visit Hurl Chevrolet GMC today or shop online at hurlchev.com and wrap up the year with incredible savings.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
Merry Christmas from the Farmers State Bank in Oakley. We invite you to stop into our lobby for coffee and cookies throughout the month of December as our small way of saying thank you to our loyal customers. We appreciate your business in 2024 and throughout our 117 years of community banking and look forward to serving you in the new year. Farmers State Bank of Oakley, member FDIC.
Catch up on all the latest headlines, scores, and interviews from the region. This is the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer, your daily dose of sports.
Not going to lie, Max, it's been a fun show today. I've had a good time. I'm glad I got up this morning.
I'm glad you got up too. Where this is, we're totally not running low on time. So this is great. We have a
do you got?
long last segment.
Yeah, long last segment coming up here.
Oh, half an hour, huh?
Yeah, I think we could make that work. What was your favorite thing of this show so far? Because my favorite was Wyatt Thompson talking about how Drake had a bunch of white guys.
That
I
was great.
loved it. Thank you. That was
That was
good.
great because it was the way he set it up. You felt like he was gonna say white guys, but you didn't know 100% if he was gonna say white guys. Then he bang drops the white guys right on you.
It was a slow pitch softball right down the heart, and boom, out of here. Bunch of white guys for Drake. Oh, that was great. Love the conversation. If you missed any of it with Wyatt, check out the podcast. Fantastic stuff. He's always great to have on the show, and great information and stuff about Kansas State athletics and that sort of stuff. Some interesting news coming out of Las Vegas yesterday that Adam Silver, commissioner of the NBA, is looking into critiques about the increased three-point volume shooting in the NBA. He says there's a lot of criticisms of offenses becoming cookie cutter and that teams are copying each other, and something that the league should look into and take seriously. And they're having many discussions about the playing style of basketball that's currently being done at this point in time. Remember, the Celtics shattered the record in the NBA for three-pointers attempted by a team, and with threes being up across the league this season. Coach Silver's getting a look at this. I'll let you go first, and I'll back cleanup on this here.
Yeah, look, I mean, this is something actually me and my friends we talked about this for a while after our show yesterday. You know, I think I like Adam Silver a lot, and I think he does a great job of changing things that need to be changed. There's just I don't know if it's just the 3-pointers anymore, because that's been a thing for a while, and Steph Curry really changed the game and how we look at 3-pointers and how teams look at 3-pointers, and the Celtics even made that more of a point with their championship last year. And I think the thing is, people want to watch the Celtics shoot a bunch of threes. They do, more than they would want to watch the Jazz and the Wizards shoot a bunch of threes. Because the problem is the best teams are shooting a bunch of threes and the worst team is shooting a bunch of threes. They're all playing the same brand of basketball, except some are good and some are bad. And that's the problem the NBA runs into. And then I think there's just a lot of issues going on in the NBA. The in-season tournament was a cool idea. It was a cool idea. You're gonna put money on the line so they could. The problem is that you're putting money on the line so they can play harder. So you're telling me that they're not playing hard throughout the year is what I'm getting out of that. Like it doesn't.
They're not
exactly, but it's just proving it.
I don't even have to get. I can just tune on the TV and tell they're not playing that hard.
I know, but they're just proving it. It's like they're proving with this NBA Cup. It's like, now that they have money on the line, they're going to play harder. It just that goes. But you know, Rob Manfred for the MLB commissioner, he gets a lot of slack for his changes.
I think flack is the word you're looking for. A lot of flack.
That's right. That's what I meant to say. Flack. He gets a lot of flack for the rule changes. You know, he proposed that like golden bat rule, which is terrible.
Yeah, that's so dumb.
But it's all about eyes now. So it is a slippery slope when you're trying to change a sport that's been around and people love, but you want to get more eyeballs. So there's needs to be a balance in all of these leagues of what you're willing to change, what you're willing to do to get more eyeballs, but also saving the sport from getting out of hand.
Okay. If you're Adam Silver, you're already down the slippery slope. You're already on it. You are sliding down right now.
Right.
Television numbers say this. You've hit the point. You're going downhill. Your teams don't play defense. It's not they half butt it half. You know, they really don't, the floor doesn't even exist back from the free throw line down pretty much anymore. It doesn't exist. You make some great points. This is analytical basketball, though. If we can, and there's high schools. I don't care. There's high schools that believe in this philosophy. If we can shoot over 35% from three, it's much better than taking a whole bunch of mid-range twos. All we want is 35% three-point shooting or layups. That's all we want. And that's analytics for you. Those are the numbers telling you that's what you do. So I don't know how you correct that. I don't know if you even can if you're Adam Silver. Are you going to say, well, yeah, every team only gets, 30 three-pointers a game? How are you going to do that? You can't do that.
You really can't.
You've already set down this slope.
I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if there is an answer.
But the thing is interesting. He does talk about, he talks about how, the styles of play are the same. Think about how boring it would be if you turn on the television in football and you watch the same teams run the same exact plays.
Yeah.
If all they ran were quarterback sneaks every single play, both teams, like they did in the olden days of football.
Yeah.
I mean, that's boring.
Right. And that's what you're getting. And I think I don't know what the fix is. I know personally, for me watching basketball, the biggest problem that I have with watching NBA basketball is I'm watching 45 minutes of men standing at the free throw line and shooting. There is so many free throws every single game. It is flopping and it's soft. It's just a soft brand of basketball. It is soft. It's very, very soft. And I think that is the number one issue. I get the 3-pointers are up, but there's no physicality. There's no physicality without a whistle being blown. And they let them play more in high school. I don't know how that can be true. So that is my main issue with the NBA right now is I'm not turning on the TV to watch 75 free throws a game. It's stupid.
It's an awful product, and they're going to see it impacting them, which is going to impact the WNBA. Wouldn't it be funny, though, if the WNBA caught fire and then had to pay for the NBA like the NBA paid for the WNBA? That'd be kind of weird. I don't think it's going to happen.
It would be weird. It would be weird. It's getting closer and closer. I guess the best player in the WNBA is also just a 3-point shooter, but I like watching good 3-point shooters, Ross. I don't like watching. That's the thing. Bad 3-point shooters are shooting threes. Good 3-point shooters are also shooting threes. I want to watch good 3-pointers shoot threes. Bad 3-point shooters should figure something else out, but they're not. They're just shooting more threes. It doesn't make any sense. That's what needs to be changed.
Yep. I'm not disagreeing. Not disagreeing one bit. I couldn't agree more. That's funny. There's something about women's basketball, though, that it's very fundamental, if you know what I mean.
Right.
They know how to play the game kind of the way it was designed to be played, and then they're adding in some of their own flair, whereas the men's game's completely gone past the fundamentals. It's all about freakishness and athleticism and craziness, and that's where it's kind of starting to hit its peak and lose it a little bit there. So,
right.
All right, we got to get to the walk-off.
A 3-run walk-off home run, a game-winning walk-off with a walk-off.
His second walk-off hit of the season.
In walk-off fashion, that baby's go.
We take this time to tell you we'll have a 2-hour show tomorrow. No, I'm joking, but it would be interesting if that'd be the case. I on the walk-off, crazy finish to the bowl game last night. I didn't get to see it, but that was crazy. The Memphis West Virginia game with a fumble at the end. That was wild. Memphis gets the win there in that bowl game. And how about Kirk Cousins done in Atlanta? Paid him $100 million this last offseason. They're going to Michael Penix. I mean, their back was kind of against the wall there, wasn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, it was like, all right, well, either you're going to draft someone that's not going to play or you're going to waste $120 million. So I guess one of them was going to work out. And unless Penix sucks, Penix sucks.
Penix, I don't know. I think he'll be good. God,
he's kind of like a right-handed Tua in my mind. He struggles with receivers.
Penix is a lefty.
Penix is a lefty. That's what I meant to say.
He's a lefty.
That's what I meant to say.
He's a left-handed Tua, which means he's a Tua.
Which means he's a Tua. He reminds me of
Penix, in those playoff games last year. God, he was dropping dimes. Those were some beautiful balls.
When his receivers, we'll see. But Kirko bad in the last 4 games. Woo!
Take the chains off, Kirko. It ain't working
up
anymore.
a storm. Goodness.
What was it? One touchdown in the last 5 games?
He's got like 1 tutty and 10 picks in the last 4 games. It's terrible. It's like,
That's bad.
Bad stuff.
That was a fun show. My goodness. If anybody missed any of it, by golly, go check out the podcast anywhere you get your podcast. For Max, I'm Ross. We're back again tomorrow in 23 hours for a Thursday edition of the Blitz. We'll see you then. Have a good one.